Good morning, rock and metal fans. Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. Hope everyone's doing all right today. So we're going to carry on with the ranking the albums. So we're right up to 2010 now. So some really good albums, you know, some really good ones come out. You're seeing a lot of bands from the past 80s through the 80s that are releasing good releases again. It's great. Do you know what I mean? It's really, that 80s vibe is really back. And of course it's my favourite decade, the 80s, so it couldn't got any better. So really good 2010. So I've actually got 12 I'm going to talk about. A couple of honourable mentions. Some new bands that I haven't mentioned yet. It's their first or second albums, you know, and they're really in their stride. So without further ado, we'll go number 12, Crash Diet and Generation Wild. So yeah, a great glam sort of heavy rock sort of band, melodic, definitely melodic. And Crash Diet is like a new generation of that sort of 80s sound. Really good album this. Probably my favourite album from, not mind you, Crash Diet are bringing out some good stuff now, but this is probably my favourite album of theirs. If you like your Scandinavian melodic rock stuff, absolutely brilliant. Proper stuck in the 80s, these guys. Do you know what I mean? I love it. So Armageddon's a good track, kicking the album off. Generation Wild, what a tune that is. And Save Her as well, some really good tracks. So if you like your catchy stuff, loads of hooks, this is the one. Right, number 11, Rat were back with Infestation. So what, they had a few albums that were, do you know what I mean, a bit dodgy to say the least. And this sort of brought back everything they were about. It was like, this could have been in the 80s, this, and you wouldn't have known any different. Honestly, superb album, superb comeback for them. These songs I'm going to mention now, honestly, they wouldn't look out of place on any of the best Rat albums. Eat Me Up, kicking the album off. Best of Me, what a tune that was, and A Little Too Much as well. So yeah, really rocking, but full of those Rat hooks that you all know. So excellent album. If you haven't given Rat a chance, because you know of them few albums that were a little bit poor, I suggest you give this one a go. Number 10, so Y&T, Face Melter, another band that have, you know, had a couple of albums that maybe weren't so good. And Face Melter, it's sort of like a bit like an ode to, you know, their older stuff, like the Black Tiger sort of era. It sort of had that same sort of production as well. It's really weird. They really went for nostalgia on this. You know, if you like Y&T, and like another one, they had a few albums that weren't so good quality, and came back with this one. On With the Show's a great track. I'm Coming Home. If You Want Me, like a slow song. That I'm Coming Home is like had some proper like Forever. You know, I was listening to it last night, and the track Forever from Y&T was off Black Tiger, which is an absolute classic of theirs. It had some real like sounds of that. You know, superb, absolutely superb from Y&T. Right, my number 9, Alan Londay, The Showdown. So, you know, I'll probably be getting a bit boring now talking about Jean Londay, but this is the third instalment, if you like, of this super group where Russell Allen of Symphony X and Jean Londay team up with the guitarist out of Primal Fear, Magnus Carlsen, and like this Frontiers project, and it's brilliant. All the first 3 albums that he done, I wasn't too keen on the 4th one, I must admit, but this one just fits in with the first 2. The Showdown is a brilliant song. Bloodlines, Never Again. You know, this is just the same sort of melodic, symphonic 80s with a sort of modern sound. Brilliant from them guys. Right, number 8, maybe one of my favourite bands of all time. Talk about them all the time. Iron Maiden, The Final Frontier. So I wasn't that keen. On this album when it first came out. I still don't think it's the strongest thing from Maiden. Definitely not. Even out of the new stuff, Brave New World and Matter of Life and Death are like top notch for me. And even the Book of Souls is right up there. But I think the problem with this album is it came after A Matter of Life and Death, and I was really into that album from beginning to end, and I thought that was just a classic Maiden album. It was actually my favourite. It was, even when it came out, I preferred it to Brave New World. Slowly but surely, Brave New World sort of like overtook that. But I think where I loved A Matter of Life and Death, then this came out, and I don't know, it sort of didn't give me the same vibes. But it's still a great album from Maiden. Coming Home is actually one of my favourite Maiden tracks. The Final Frontier is a good track. El Dorado, When the Wild Wind Blows. So you know what I mean? I think sometimes when a great album comes out, you know, like A Matter of Life and Death, we sort of compare. We just can't help it. And you know, this one came out, and I was like, I was a bit on it, but you know, I love it now. I think it's brilliant. It just fits right in, but probably not quite up there with the best. So number 7, Avantasia brought 2 albums out in this year. I'm not sure if it was at the same time, but it was very close together. Angel of Babylon and Wicked Symphony. So they are this project that I've talked about before. Tobias Sammet from Egg Guy, and they produce some brilliant tracks. It's like a metal opera, but there are more straightforward songs. You know, it's not an fully operatic album, if you like, although there's some glimpses of that through all the albums. But Angel of Babylon I love, but Wicked Symphony's one of my favourite Avantasia albums, so you know, it sort of balanced it out to be right there in my list. But some of the songs on the Angel of Babylon one, Your Love Is Evil, is great. Down in the Dark, Alone I Remember, but like I said, the Wicked Symphony is a really strong album. Up there with the Scarecrow album that came out a few years before. But the Wicked Symphony title track is great. Scales of Justice is a epic song, and Dying for an Angel. So remember what this I couldn't name them all, but they've got loads and loads of talent across these albums. Like I said, it's another project which involves so many great singers and guitarists across the melodic rock, symphonic metal type genre, and it's great. You know, I mean, they're a real good listen, and they produce some epic stuff. They really do. That was my number 7. My number 6. Crazy Lix's New Religion. So this is a sort of, we mentioned Crash Diet earlier on. This is another one of those bands, but this band, especially now, are bringing out some great 80s stuff. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely superb. Their last couple of albums have been right up there. In the 80s, they would have been huge, this band, Crazy Lix's. And New Religion is a great album, and I think this is the first of many that were really good. They had a little bit of a dip where they changed their style a little bit, but now they're fully on with that 80s sound. You know, now with their albums, you can liken them to bands like, if you know them, Heat, Eclipse. They're right up there. They produce some great stuff, and this New Religion was a great album. Blame It on Love it could be my favourite track from Crazy Lix's. Children of the Cross is a great song. Rock and a Hard Place. They're sort of like they've definitely got some Def Leppard, good Def Leppard I'm talking. You know, way back then, the Pyromania type, you know, that, and the High and Dry era, definitely. But great band, great singer on this, great musicians. They are a brilliant band. Check out Crazy Lix's if you like your melodic rock, heavy rock. My number 5. So I've spoken about this band a few times as well. British band FM and Metropolis. So this came out, I don't know if anyone saw I did an FM album review, their new one, Synchronized, and I mentioned on there that I left FM for quite a few years. Didn't listen to them probably since after their sophomore effort. I sort of left them for years and years, all the way through the 90s and 2000s. I know they had a bit of a gap, I think, where they didn't release anything. But so I've gone back. I've got hold of all this music and I'm listening to it now. And obviously I've missed out on some great music. And now, thankfully, I can place this band back in my lists, which I wouldn't have done a couple of months ago. And that's thanks to some FM fans as well. So look, you're missing out on this, you're missing out on that. I definitely have. I definitely prefer the melodic rock AOR side of FM. Definitely not into the bluesy type stuff, which they do as well. So they sort of always put 2 or 3 tracks that are sort of bluesy on their records, but I'm not into that stuff in general. Not just FM bands that do that bluesy stuff. I like the melodic rock, heavy rock AOR side of the bands like this. So Hollow, Unbreakable, Days Gone By, full up with great catchy stuff. Of course, the singer Steve Overland is outstanding. His voice now sounds like it did back in the 80s. Superb. One of them bands that has kept, you know, the voice. The singer has kept his voice somehow. Brilliant. Well, my number 4, a return from a great band, Accept and Blood of the Nation. So I wasn't, and I'm probably going to get my ass kicked like I always do, a huge fan of Accept back in the day. So I like some of their tracks. You know, I did. I definitely like some of them. I love the Metal Heart album, even though that wasn't, if you actually talk to Accept fans, it's probably one of their lesser liked albums because it sort of went a more melodic side, but I think I like that. But they return now with a new singer, Mark Tornillo. Now he's been on they've done 3 or 4 albums now with this singer. What a replacement for Udo Dirk Snyder. Absolutely, they couldn't have got anyone better. This guy has a great voice. He's definitely got glimpses of Udo in there. Udo. But he's definitely got his own part of it. He sings really nice, clean, as well as, you know, that sort of sound that Udo had, that, you know, where it gets a bit that rougher sound. He's got a bit of both. But this is sort of, you know, one of them bands that has returned. New singer, energy in this record. Beat the Bastards, or Bastards. What am I? I'm English. What the fuck am I saying bastards for? Beat the Bastards. Teutonic Terror is a great. It just, you know, sums up that song. The title just sums it up. It is real rock in that. Shades of Death is a great song. So this is I'm hoping you guys, a lot of you guys are open-minded, because I try to be as much as I can and give new members of bands a chance. You know, if you're an Udo Dirk Snyder fan and you're like, no, I won't fucking listen to them, it's not the same. Be open-minded. Listen to this band. I think they're better than they ever have been now. Superb band. My number 3. A band that a lot of people love or hate. Bit of Marmite on this one, I suppose. And that's Avenged Sevenfold. But this is a great album, Nightmare. So the band lost the drummer, the Rev. And this is sort of like, it seems like the whole album's a bit of a, you know, sort of a tribute to the Rev. They lost I'm not sure how long it was before they started recording on this, but this is like full up with real good tracks. I mean, there's so much feeling in this album. Some of the songs are so sad as well. So Far Away could be it's one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my life. And it's dedicated to the Rev. Such a sad song, but brilliant. Nightmare, opening the album off, great. They are a mix of, you know, Maiden, Metallica, and I think that's what they get stick for. People give them stick because, you know, they sound like Metallica, they're ripping them off, blah blah blah. You know, I don't give a fuck. If it's good, it's good. All bands take influences. They can't help it, whether they mean it or not. If they love a band, if I created a band now, if I was in a band, I would be making songs without even knowing it that sound like bands that I love, because I fucking, yeah, it's just what you want to do, in it. So Buried Alive is also a great track, but this is full up with some of my favourite Avenged Sevenfold tracks. Great production. Brilliant, brilliant album. Check that one out. Number 2, Master Plan, Time to Be King. Jean Londe brought back into Master Plan for a 3rd album with him in it. This is, I think this is the most, I'm not sure, but at the time especially, this was seen as the weakest Master Plan album. For me, it's the best Master Plan album. Jean Londe's vocals on this, he hit some heights, unbelievable heights. The band itself as well, technically one of the best bands ever. Of course, there's some ex-Halloween guys in there, you know, it's understandable, they're good musicians. But this has got some brilliant, brilliant tracks all the way through it. Easily my best Master Plan album, and they had some good ones as well, you know what I mean? I'm not too keen on Master Plan now. I've tried to listen to their stuff. The singer doesn't do anything for me compared to Jean Londe, I'm afraid. Blow Your Winds on this album is a great track. Winds of War, The Dark Road. They've got a real epic sound to all these songs on this album, and this is one of the Master Plan's album. This is an album in general that I can listen to front to back, and it's such an interesting listen. It really goes in a lot of different places. Brilliant album from Master Plan, and Jean Londe yet again. I know I'll bang on about him, but he is brilliant. And that leaves my number 1. So, one of my favourite modern, they're not modern, they're going a few years now, but my modern heavy metal, if you like, hard, definitely heavy rock, metal, whatever you want to call it, Alter Bridge, and their album 3. So, I think they really hit their stride on this. I think they might have been at my top of my list each year they brought an album out so far, but they were finding their way, I think, on the debut album. Blackbird, as after the One Day Remains, was a great album, sort of really showed their direction. They were going to go in that heavy side. But I think 3 is where they really thought, you know, where they got it right, exactly right. I was trying to like pick some tracks on this, and Isolation, what a superb, I think it's a single they first brought out. So heavy, and you know, all those doubters that go, oh, Alter Bridge are Creed, have a listen to Isolation. That'll change your mind. One of the best tracks you hear as an heavy metal hard rock track. Ghost of Days Gone By, superb. All Hope Is Gone. Call the Lane, which is about, I think it's Miles Kennedy. There's a river where he lives called a lane, and that's what it's about. What a great heavy track. Words Darker Than Their Wings, where Tremonti sings with Miles Kennedy. If you check that out as well on the on YouTube or whatever, check Words Darker Than Their Wings live at the Royal Albert Hall. I was there that night. Outstanding. And Show Me a Sign, which is probably right up there with my favourite Alter Bridge tracks. I'm going to be doing an Alter Bridge top 10 songs or 15 songs soon, I would have thought. And Show Me a Sign is going to be right up there. Underrated, deeper cut. So much emotion in that song. Alter Bridge 3, wow. Honestly, the very dark lyrics on this one. They was in a bit of a darker place, I believe, but the emotion just shows through. An absolute quality album, absolute quality. Love Alter Bridge 3, and I did rate it at the top of my albums, my Alter Bridge ranking. But I did say in that ranking that the top 4 albums for me, and I think they've released 6 now, but the top 4 interchange. They interchange all the time. Number 3 could be the best, and then it's Fortress, and then it's, you know, there's 4 that are my top 3. So it's Blackbird, 3, Fortress. One Day Remains is always there as well. It's just, they just interchange. They honestly, they are absolutely superb band. I've never known a band that's so consistent. Their last couple of albums for me don't quite hit the mark where they was back then. But you know, they evolve as well. They evolve as a band and try and do different stuff, and that's great. Otherwise, fans will moan about them not doing different stuff, won't they? And then when they go back to do the same old stuff, it'll be, same old shit, try something different. You just can't fucking win sometimes, can you? So, a couple of honourable mentions I've got. I won't talk about the tracks itself, but they were pretty good. Deftones, Diamond Eyes had some great tracks on it. Pretty Maids, Pandemonium. They would get really in their stride now, bringing some great albums out, sort of return to form a little bit. I think that's about it. So yeah, it's a great year. So let me know what I might have missed on 2010, what your top albums would be. And maybe you can suggest some, I could do some reactions to stuff I have actually missed. I don't not getting many reactions from these later years, like suggestions if you like, but I'm bound to have missed something, so let me know. Right, if you can subscribe please, bottom right hand corner, red button. Thank you very much.